I'm Danielle, and I'm a master's student in sustainability at Stanford. And I'll be presenting today with Maya, who's the community forestry coordinator at Canopy in the Bay Area, and also Srecko and Shoja, who are master's students in the Sustainable Design and Construction program at Stanford. And we're really excited to be here today and to meet all of you. We'll be talking about supporting climate resilience and public health through parcel level tree planting analysis. So to give a brief overview of the Future Bay Initiative, we try to use data science to advance community initiatives, and we're really focused on fueling collaboration between NGOs, academics, and the community. And this work has been a bit of a struggle during COVID because so much of community engagement relies on like in-person social aspects. But this has also provided us a really good opportunity to place more emphasis on using data for like the planning and implementation stage, and also being able to connect with so many more people over Zoom and easily expand our project to new areas. So over the course of the past 6 months, we've been collaborating with community partners and nonprofits, from Climate Ready North Fair Oaks, which is a community-based collaborative that brings together stakeholders from the public, private, and social sectors to build capacity for climate resilience in North Fair Oaks. And then I'll pass it to Maya to introduce Canopy.
Thanks, Danielle. Hi, everyone. My name is Maya Briones, and I'm the Community Forestry Manager at Canopy. Canopy is an urban forestry nonprofit in the Bay Area here in California. Our mission is to grow the urban tree canopy in mid-peninsula communities for the benefit of all, so that everyone has equal access to all the amazing benefits that trees bring us. We're motivated by the many benefits that trees bring to urban communities, but we're mostly motivated by the need of improved equity between those who live under healthy trees and those who do not. Canopy is driven by the existing inequities in green space, particularly in canopy cover, throughout communities that we serve, and we strive to bridge the green gap and in order to promote positive health outcomes and prepare communities for a future in challenging climate. I want to give a little context about what North Fair Oaks is. North Fair Oaks is an unincorporated community within the boundaries of some other cities, so it's led by the County of San Mateo and the Bay Area, and it is a community that the other presentations have described, historically underserved, very little canopy cover, and access to green space. Thanks, Danielle.
Awesome, thanks, Maya. So since September, we've been collaborating to create a publicly accessible dashboard tool to support Canopy's in-person canvassing efforts and also outreach. And this tool basically helps to highlight high potential parcels within North Fair Oaks, based on like a weighted average of different data inputs. And this project is just one case study of the Bay Area, but it can also be expanded to like more data inputs and also geographical regions outside of California as well. And I'll pass it back to Maya to talk about the timeline of the project.
Yeah, so I just want to kind of tell you how this began in the story of our project here. Canopy, I joined the Climate Ready North Fair Oaks coalition and met with Derek Yang, professor at Stanford, who had a student lab that wanted to partner on urban greening efforts and climate resiliency projects in North Fair Oaks, and they thought tree planting was a great way to do that. And so the big question was, what are the barriers to tree planting? Many of you, all of you probably know that there are many barriers to tree planting. So we picked two barriers that we thought we can try to tackle, which were outreach and financial means of support to support a tree on private property. The Stanford lab devised to create this tool that analyzed communities on a parcel level. And that is what's different about this tool than other mapping tools that I've used while doing my work at Canopy. The goal was to make outreach more effective, and I want to mention that we also applied for county funding that supported a gift card incentive program that allowed certain residents to have a gift card if they accepted a tree from us to relieve that financial burden. Canvassing with the group during COVID was a challenge that I'll address a little later in the presentation, but we had COVID safety measures in place, and using this tool, we were able to do outreach to the community, and we had a tree planting in December. And so we're continuing to update the tool with various data inputs and have another tree planting coming up. Canopy's funding is from the state, it's from CAL FIRE, and our deadline is supposed to be next year, but it may be extended due to the limitations of the pandemic. We hope to continue to partner with Climate Ready North Fair Oaks and Stanford into the future to ensure that the North Fair Oaks community has continued support through a future of climate change.
Thanks, Maya. So now I'm going to go over a quick overview of the tool. It takes into account 6 types of data factors, which are the parcel type. So is it a single family, residential, commercial, school? The proximity to disadvantaged communities. Are the parcels within ½ a mile of a disadvantaged community? The amount of pedestrian traffic, so the estimated foot traffic before and after COVID. The average surface temperature with a resolution of 30 meters resolution. The greenness index, which is how green a parcel is. So we can use that to estimate already like current tree cover or other, bushes, grass, etc. And then also the potential front yard plantable area. So is there even space to plant more trees? And this is a screenshot of our tool, which is publicly available. And on the left side, we can see highlighted in a light blue, we can see sliders that can be moved around in order to adjust the values based on what the community deems is more important. So if the community thinks that pedestrian traffic is more important than thermal data, they can move those sliders back and forth to prioritize what they think is more important. And at the top, we can see a map of this community, which is North Fair Oaks. And each of those parcels, you can click on them and it'll show you the overall score in the graph below and pinpoint the overall score and the pedestrian score and all those other things. And then on the right side, right now we're just looking at the parcel data, and we can also choose from building footprint, thermal data, and the overall score if you want to break it down like that. And then this slide is just showing what if the overall score is chosen, how does that look? And the darker green has a higher overall score, so it has a higher potential for positive impact for trees to be planted there. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Maya.
Thanks, Shoja. So I wanted to share why this is so valuable for urban forestry efforts. Canvassing during COVID was difficult in many regards. 2020 was difficult in many regards. The pandemic made public outreach almost seem impossible, especially in the beginning. And without public outreach, our organization really can't plant trees. Like Danielle said, it's really that face-to-face interaction that creates trust within these communities. And so the North Fair Oaks community has been heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And I knew from the beginning that canvassing during this time would be difficult. Even before COVID, I want to stress that the biggest struggle I've encountered while promoting our Free Trees program is getting residents in low-income, historically underserved communities to say yes to trees. On paper, Canopy's model seems like it would work. We offer free trees, free tree installation, 3 years of free tree care, and all the resident needs to do is water it. However, like we've been discussing this whole time in this conference, it's essential to recognize that there are multiple barriers to urban greening, especially planting trees due to their size, roots, branches, everything, in communities that have been historically underserved. So in the past, I would go door to door in a neighborhood that was acceptable under our grant funding with the state, present our program model. But this tool has given me a really interesting analysis at a parcel level, and that's what makes it different than other maps that we have. I could look at CalEnviroscreen and other mapping tools that look at need, but this is at a parcel level showing me what need there is. In terms of thermal need, heat, is it is really hot, green space, plantable area, like I said, pedestrian traffic to increase community benefit, to shade sidewalks, make people encourage, more outdoor activity. And so this has allowed me to prioritize research and advocacy, outreach and advocacy efforts. If need be, I can approach a household knowing what's some of the stressors that already exist and maybe present our program as a direct solution. During COVID, I didn't want to just walk up to random doors and it's an odd time to do that. So this tool allowed me to be very strategic about my approach. And I feel strongly that this is very applicable and transferable to communities across the country. I feel like this can be translated so that urban forestry efforts are dedicated to spaces that have a strong need for canopy cover, and advocacy work really should be the first step when introducing an organization like Canopy to a new community, a community that has faced many barriers for many generations. So this advocacy can be done, or at least strategized around this tool. And environmental justice, like we've been talking about, needs to be at the forefront of everything that we do in this work. And the barriers, there's a plethora of them, preventing communities across the country from gaining canopy cover. And I feel like a tool like this can really help identify some of those barriers and enable us to strategize solutions. So just want to talk a little bit more about our incentives that this tool allowed us to provide to residents. Like I said, our model is to plant and care for trees for free. It's always been our approach at Canopy to make stewarding a tree easier for residents in the communities that we serve. However, our model still does not always incite immediate interest in our free trees program. And so the $100 gift card program was something we were able to get funding because of this tool. The overall score that I use allows me to see which parcels can get the gift card. And we have yet to see if all of these incentives truly have an impactful difference. This is pretty new, and it's not really a convincing tool yet, though I think that there's high potential that this tool could be. It's really first and foremost a planning tool. And I'll pass it back to, I think, Danielle or Shoja, I don't remember.
It's me. Thank you, Maya. So we have already heard from Maya how our dashboard has helped her in her work, but the parcel level analysis we are doing is still pretty much a work in progress. And we at Stanford are always trying to evaluate our tools and also think about how to be innovative in further updating these tools, so to make them more efficient and effective. So one evaluation technique we are currently doing is the analysis of effectiveness of the parcel scores we have developed. So we are computing scores of parcels where trees were planted in September last year before Canopy used our dashboard. And then we are comparing those to the scores of parcels where trees were planted later in December last year with dashboard use. So our goal is to check whether the use of parcel scores has actually contributed to selecting priority parcels for tree planting. And we're also looking at the parcels that were not previously chosen for planting and comparing their scores with those of the selected parcels, just to gain a better understanding of the level of impact that our tool has had. And another major thing we are currently working on is developing a mobile version of the parcel score dashboard, which can be used more easily during canvassing than the previous dashboard, which is more suited for maybe use on laptops and computers. So mobile dashboard has a more user-friendly interface. It is simplified and it only shows the most relevant data for canvassers. And since it is displaying fewer data layers on the map, it's loading faster and also offers a smoother navigation between different tabs and sections. We have also added a geolocation button, which can help people canvassing easily determine their location in the neighborhood. And also, since canvassing usually happens in one neighborhood at a time, we separated our parcels into several different neighborhoods based on the guidance from Canopy, and added a search option with an autocomplete feature to speed up the process of looking up parcels in a given neighborhood. And this goes back to what Maya mentioned, just like how to make this more efficient, because during COVID, we don't want to go and knock on all the doors, and don't want to spend too much time in the neighborhoods, especially if you're doing canvassing in a group. Next slide, Danielle. Thank you. So as it has been hopefully demonstrated in our presentation so far, one of the core tenets of Stanford Future Bay Initiative is focus on building strong relationships between academia and nonprofits, centered around our common goal of improving quality of life in local communities. So in order to do so, we are always thinking about opportunities for new partnerships, expansion of our tools to include other communities, and also developing outreach initiatives in those communities. Although our work so far has been centered on North Fair Oaks and the Bay Area, we are actively working on expanding it to other Bay Area cities, but also to our urban areas outside of California in the rest of the country. We are very excited about potential collaborations with other community organizations and networking with new partners, hoping to increase the number of our data sources and also to evaluate the robustness and scalability of our product. We are also actively working on outreach in the communities we are serving to raise awareness and incentivize people, such as with the case with tree planting initiatives we have done with Canopy in North Fair Oaks. Next slide, please. So just our concluding remarks, our Stanford Future Bay Initiative team consists of lecturers and students from all levels of higher education who are brought together by passion for turning learned knowledge into tangible outcomes that actually help others. We are extremely grateful to our community partners, including Maya, who coordinate our interactions with local communities, and also to our data partners for providing valuable information necessary to run our projects. And on the next slide, our final slide, there is a contact information for Professor Derek Bayang, one of the leaders of Stanford Future Bay Initiative. So if you're interested in collaboration, please reach out to him at his email address. If you want to learn more about our work, you can have a look at a more detailed presentation from last year, and Shoja is going to provide the link in the chat box. And also, if you would like to take a closer look at our dashboard, we're going to provide a link for that as well. Thank you so much for your attention, and we are now open for questions.
Awesome, thank y'all so much. I see already one big question in the chat, and there's a link to the dashboard. Scott Mako asked, what are the limitations in scaling this nationally? I would almost ask, what are the limitations and what are the opportunities? So can you talk about scaling?
Sure, I can talk a little bit about that, and then if other team members want to jump in. But Scott, thank you so much for your question. I think like one good thing about the tool is that it's in R, which is like an open source language, so that's really easy to scale. And we use mostly public data. But one limitation is that like the availability of data really varies like between states and even like between counties. So a little bit of the creation of the tool requires like manually finding the data and cleansing it and manipulating it to be able to be used in the analysis. I don't know if others want to chime in too.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly what Danielle said. Some of the counties have different data provided. So we just have to kind of work with what we're given right now because we're just using publicly available data.
And I will add, though I'm not part of Stanford, I think they're very open to accepting different data points depending on the needs of the community that wants this tool. Like this tool was built around me and what I wanted. So I told them like what data inputs I'm looking for. And we're actually looking to add more to increase our analysis on a parcel level. So if there's missing data points, depending on what those missing data points are for other communities that are interested in having this tool for themselves, perhaps those can be supplemented with other data, depending on what you're looking for.
Awesome. Other questions, throw them in the chat or feel free to raise your hand. There's a question there. Could you share what might be potential data points? What do you see including from Rachel?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So one of the extra types of data we're thinking about was like percentage of hardscapes. Some communities are also thinking about like flooding risk and permeability. So also adding data on, you know, how much concrete or asphalt is in that area to include that could be helpful. And another one was the, was it EVI? Srecko, do you remember?
Yeah, so there are different indices that can be used to show greenness of parcels. So far we've been using one called NDVI, which seems to be the most common one, but there are multiple other indices. So I've been working on kind of just exploring those others and potentially using a different set of satellite data just to see which of these indices are better or like more useful for urban environments. And also some other things we could potentially include is data related to air pollution or flooding risks, maybe percentage of people aged 65 and over, or percentage of children living in neighborhoods, because we are really, one of our goals is to increase canopy cover, to increase shading, so children in these neighborhoods can play outside and not be exposed to really high temperatures, and also potentially including social vulnerability indices as well.
Alana, would you like to chime in with your comment there and explain what you mean? That may or may not be understood.
Oh, I was just commenting on the fact that if concrete is included in the data set, that then you can identify people who may be inordinately affected by their concrete coverage because they have a fee imposed on them for how much impervious surface is on their private property.
Thank you so much. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very interesting point. Thank you.
One thing I would just love to hear y'all speak to is when you're speaking to an interesting, national audience, and what like your biggest dreams for collaboration would be. If you could look, I don't know, 3 years, 5 years in the future, would you be imagining this being licensed, or how you could imagine collaborating or scaling? It's fun to just do some dreaming and visioning with some people out there who are great different kinds of partners. And then Scott, your next step.
Maybe someone from Stanford should take this since they created the tool. But me at Canopy, I so far have found a strong use of this, and I have found the analysis extremely enlightening. And so I really hope that this is adopted across the country so that people can really look at communities parcel by parcel to be a little bit more individualized in our approaches, which is, of course, maybe more work, but the goal of this is actually to create less work because we become more strategized. But Stanford team, do you want to talk about possible licensing of this tool to others?
Sure, yeah, just echoing Maya, like we'd love to expand to other like geographical regions outside of California. So if anyone is interested, please reach out to us. And also looking to like expand to more data sources as well.
Great. Scott, I think you've got our last question here. Go right ahead.
Hey, thanks, Janice. Thanks, Danielle, and to your team. That was a good presentation. I like what you guys are doing. It seems straightforward, simple and understand, and obviously has application in the field, as we heard from Maya. So congratulations on that. The one thing I'm thinking about, though, is in watching you guys, is we have all of a sudden all these things coming online. You guys obviously have a nice start pilot, and you envision that this could go nationally. We heard Ian this morning talk about the equity score that American Forest is doing. There's a new one that's been making some waves in the media from a group called Nature Quant out on the West Coast with their nature score. We have iTree Landscape, which is a national prioritization tool. So each one of those has some unique aspects to it, but I see a lot of synergies there for groups, and I see a lot of need within SUFC and the membership here. So I don't know that it's a question or a comment, or maybe it's something the research working group could take up for those who are interested in looking at this, but I see some real collaborative conversational opportunities here to see how we can advance all these things. So thanks again for showing up today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, go ahead. Well, I just want to say thank you, Scott, for that point. We are absolutely aware of the American Forest tool and the Google tool down in LA, here in California. Lots of, like you said, online tools being developed kind of at the same time, lots of synergy, which is really exciting. I've been particularly excited, of course, working with these students at Stanford who are so driven to work directly with these communities and look at things more on an individual basis rather than a layer in a map, which has been really great. So I hope there's, this continues to grow with each new cohort. Each new cohort at Stanford brings new ideas to this tool, and it continues to grow and be more finessed.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, Scott. Those are really interesting points. I'm also really excited about like the synergies between all of these different metrics. And I feel like I kind of see them as like all of these like different metrics, like on a dashboard of a car where they all like work together to show us like a more detailed understanding of the entire system.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Well,
Thank you all so much.
yeah, I've known Catherine for a long time, so I'll get with her and figure out how to contact you guys, and we'll bring some of the other interested parties from SUFC into the mix too, and we'll start a conversation of it. But thanks again.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I invited everyone once again to unmute on the count of 3, a 1, a 2, a 3, and give these folks a round of applause. 1, 2, 3. Thank you all so much.